Everyone says 2025 will finally be Lando Norris' year. But what if I told you he might not be ready? We've seen the hype before, new challengers stepping up, only to crumble when it really matters. Is Norris truly built for a season-long battle against Verstappen? Or will Max simply do what he always does? Dominate. Let's dive into the reality of what's coming. The F1 world is buzzing about a potential Norris versus Verstappen title fight. But is it really that simple? Former F1 driver and Sky Sports analyst Martin Brundle believes Norris has the raw talent to challenge for the championship, but only if he changes his approach. McLaren heads into 2025 with confidence, and Norris himself has said he'll need to use his elbows against Verstappen this season. And he's right. Verstappen has built his legacy on aggression, control, and an unwillingness to back down. If Norris wants to take him down, he needs to become just as ruthless. I think Lando now knows how to race at the front, Brundle told Sky Sports F1. He probably believes he can win a world championship, but to do that, he'll have to sharpen his elbows and be willing to fight Max wheel to wheel. That's just how Max races. He's tough, and that's why he's won 4 titles in a row. But is Norris really the biggest threat to Verstappen? McLaren showed serious pace in 2024, but Red Bull still had the advantage when it mattered most. Even when Norris looked close, Verstappen always found a way to win. Does Lando have the mindset to withstand a season-long fight? Brundle sees 2025 as a crucial season. With stable regulations, the performance gap should be smaller than ever. But with the massive 2026 rule changes approaching, teams like McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes face a huge decision. Go all in on 2025 or start shifting focus to the future? I have no doubt this season will be incredibly competitive, Brundle said. The current regulations are at their limit, so there's not much room for major improvements. That means we could start 2025 with a tightly packed grid. We've also got several rookies joining, and I think the top 4 teams will be fighting hard. But at the end of the day, it's all about who delivers when it really counts. And that's where Verstappen still has the edge. He's been in these battles before. He knows how to control a season from start to finish. Norris, he's been close, but can he actually deliver when the pressure is at its highest? So now it's over to you. Is Norris truly ready to challenge Verstappen, or is Max still the clear favorite? Can McLaren finally close the gap, or will Ferrari and Mercedes enter the mix as well? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Formula One News so you don't miss a single update ahead of what could be the most intense F1 season in years. Is Norris hiding something about the MCL 39? With the 2025 Formula One season fast approaching, teams are hitting the track to test their new cars. McLaren was one of the first to roll out its challenger, the MCL 39, at Silverstone. But instead of an exciting reveal, Lando Norris's first impressions of the car sounded, well, surprisingly reserved. After taking the MCL 39 out for its first laps, Norris didn't hype up the car the way many expected. Instead, he played things down. It's still early to say much, but everything feels normal. We had some tricky conditions with a wet track, so it was hard to draw too many conclusions. The car has some innovations, some new things the team has tried, which made the design a bit more complicated, but McLaren has done a great job trying to explore new possibilities. Wait a second, complicated design? That's not exactly the glowing review fans were hoping for. Could this mean McLaren has taken a bold but risky approach? Or is Norris intentionally keeping expectations low to avoid adding pressure before the season even begins? It wouldn't be the first time a driver has downplayed their car's potential early on, only to surprise everyone when the racing starts. But there's also a chance that McLaren's aggressive push for innovation has introduced some early headaches. Norris himself admitted, "There's always a bit of nervousness, right? You try something different and you wonder if it will work as planned, but so far everything is going well. I feel like everything is in place and the car is working as it should." The real question is whether McLaren has finally given Norris the weapon he needs to take on Verstappen. We know they made huge strides in 2024, but 2025 is the year where they either cement themselves as true title contenders or remain stuck as the best of the rest. So is Norris genuinely unsure about the MCL 39, or is he just hiding its true potential? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Formula One News for all the latest updates as we get closer to the season opener. Formula One has always been about passion, raw emotion, and the pursuit of perfection. But in 2025, the FIA seems more focused on controlling what drivers say rather than improving racing. Williams driver Alex Albon is the latest to call out the controversial new rules, which could see drivers fined, penalized, and even banned from races, not for dangerous driving, but for swearing. Under the new regulations, a single outburst could cost a driver €40,000, a second offense €80,000, and a third could result in a €120,000 fine, championship point deductions, and even a 1-month suspension. Yes, a suspension for using a bad word. At Williams' 2025 car launch at Silverstone, Albon admitted that this topic has been heavily discussed behind the scenes among drivers, and he made it clear that they aren't happy. There have definitely been discussions about it. We're still figuring out how we want to respond to it. Is it right? Of course not, Albon said. He also pointed out that Formula One thrives on adrenaline and emotion, and expecting drivers to be censored at all times feels completely unnatural. I don't think we should be so heavily monitored in every single aspect of what we do. It's also a sport full of adrenaline. I don't think having microphones on us all the time is, well, whatever it is. While the FIA president, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, has been cracking down on driver conduct, this isn't the first time drivers have pushed back. Max Verstappen was already penalized for his language in a press conference at the 2024 Singapore Grand Prix, and in November, the drivers collectively asked the FIA to treat them like adults and explain why these excessive fines were even necessary. Ben Sulayem's response? He told them to mind their own business. Here's the real issue. Is this really where the FIA should be focusing its energy? Shouldn't they be more concerned about improving, stimproving, stewarding consistency, fixing track limits controversies, or addressing safety concerns rather than handing out 6-figure fines over words spoken in the heat of the moment? Meanwhile, Williams is preparing for one of its most important seasons in years. Albon believes that his experience, along with the arrival of Carlos Sainz, could give them an early advantage while rookies are still adjusting and teams are fine-tuning their cars. There is definitely an opportunity to capitalize early on. Hopefully, we can start strong this year. While some drivers are still getting up to speed, we could take advantage and get some solid results, Albon added. So what do you think? Are these FIA penalties a necessary step to maintain professionalism in F1? Or is this an overreach that's stripping the sport of its authenticity? Should drivers really be punished for showing emotion in one of the most intense sports on the planet? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Formula One News for all the latest updates as we head into what could be the most dramatic F1 season in years.